Starting now.
Okay, so I'm Kylie, and I am a registered nurse. I work at the U. I'm finishing my bachelor's degree at Weber State. And so part of our curriculum is that we have to do community engagement, and we have to present to people or people that support certain like foster families, foster children, things like that. Just the same as I go to in-services for cancer, things like that. So you guys work directly with the population, so I feel like this is applicable to you. And it's applicable if you have kids or if you've ever taken care of somebody. So yes, stress reduction techniques for caregivers. Okay, so stress is bad, we all know, but why? So we hear about stress on a daily basis, but what's the big deal? If everyone's stressed, it's part of the hectic lifestyle, what's the problem with it? So what are some things that you guys know about stress being negative from a health perspective? Yes.
It adds to my fat cells.
Oh my gosh. Yes, stress is definitely plays a big factor. Do you know why?
Not completely. Oxytocin's not good.
So it's actually
Cortisol.
yes, cortisol. I was gonna say cortisol
Oxytocin.
is the we love oxytocin.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Feel good.
So the big thing about it that I always found interesting is that our bodies are, let me see if it's okay. So preventing and diminishing the long-term effects. So stress is good in small doses, little spurts, but our bodies don't know if we're running from a tiger or if we are giving a presentation at our mom's work. No, I'm just kidding. But our bodies react the same way, and I always tell people, I'm like, our bodies are efficient, they're beautiful, they're adaptive. Do they always respond at the appropriate time? No, our bodies really can't tell the difference between certain stimuli. And I always make the joke, I'm like, you can swallow food and you can breathe, but if you try to do both, then that's the last sandwich we're gonna have. So our bodies are built a certain way, but sometimes it's not so great because rush hour traffic, certain things, bills, kids stress, all our bodies react the same way at a physiological level. So of course it affects us emotionally, we get anxious, we get sad, but the physical symptoms that many people have, sorry, I'm totally in your way.
It's okay.
So headaches, stomach aches, just little ailments that we all encounter without a certain medical diagnosis or something we can pinpoint it to are often associated with our increased stress levels. So anxiety, lack of sleep, lack of focus, feeling overwhelmed, these are things that trigger how we process information, and then of course how we feel. So if you have a lack of sleep, you're gonna be tired, might be sluggish, might not perform as well. So it really is just kind of a domino effect.
And it is gonna add to your fat cells, because if you don't get sleep.
It is. And you know what? I was a night shift nurse, and I was like, what's the deal? It's just the same, it's just flipped. No. You eat more, it's like your body, you're more likely to binge eat. So that's why I tell people, I'm like, if you hate breakfast, just eat breakfast. And then, you're supposed to stop eating 2 or 3 hours before bed, but, we do what we can, right?
Yes.
So how stress can affect your health. So like I was saying, stress isn't a bad thing, but our bodies have become tailored to reacting a certain way. Does anyone know what this is called? Fight or freeze. Yes. Yep. Fight, fright. Yes. Fight, flight, freeze. Drop down, pretend you're dead. So just kidding. But this is due to our sympathetic nervous system. Has kept us alive, but a lot of our ancestors don't have the same issues that we experience. And so, let me see here. Do you like my little, that's supposed to be a shark. So, whether, like I said, whether it's a physical danger or you're just trying to get the kids out the door, our bodies react the same way. So, let's see here. Who's at risk of stress? Pretty much everybody. And you guys have high stress occupations. Some people, I say people that deal with the emotional aspects of human beings are obviously at higher risk, and you see and hear about traumatic things. But also, from the research that I've been doing is that caregivers are at significant risk of stress. So basically anybody that cares for family members, formally, informal caregivers, children, parents, spouses, siblings. Obviously parents are probably the main thing, but if grandpa climbs on the roof and wants to put the Christmas lights up and falls and breaks his hip, you know, it's like family members have to change their dynamic and take over responsibilities as well as care for their family members. So, I'm trying to...
Grandpa should not mess with Christmas lights.
Right.
No.
That's why men don't outlive women. No, I'm just kidding. So it can be rewarding, and I'm not trying to give this presentation as in shun your family and learn to care for yourself.
No.
But some people, even me, it's like you just need time for yourself, and there are certain things that are more beneficial to longevity that can kind of counteract the effects that taking on a caregiver role can bring. So caregivers, they have less time to reflect on proper self-care. It's harder to exercise, harder to eat well, harder to meet your own medical needs, especially if you're caring for someone else with medical needs, such as a child or a parent. And then I actually looked into it can take as much as 10 years off of life expectancy for the average caregiver. Like I said, that's different genetics, environments, things like that can predispose people. But it definitely, when you don't have the proper coping mechanisms and then you fall into certain vices and lifestyles, then that's what contributes to these, the decrease in overall life expectancy and satisfaction. So, ways to reduce stress. There are tons of ways to reduce stress. I just picked a couple that are more evidence-based, has more foundation on it. I know people like oils and things like that, and some people are like, oh, I get my nails done once a month, but there are certain things that we can do on a daily basis and slowly incorporate into our lives that can be beneficial not only for caregivers, but for everybody. It is more difficult. That's why I'm like, a lot of these things, any amount is better than nothing. Like, people are like, how long do I have to meditate? And I'm like, meditate before bed. I don't know. Meditate. Some people like to walk and meditate. It's the same thing with like parking in the parking lot far away and walking to the door instead of, not taking the elevator. People think it doesn't add up, but I'm like, if you do 5 extra minutes of walking a day for like 30, 40 years, I'm like, it really does protect your body long term. So, I focus on mindfulness meditation. There are tons of different meditation styles. But a lot of the recent research has gone more into mindfulness because it has that grounding factor. They can kind of separate yourself from your environment and just focus on your internal feelings. So it gives our bodies a recess from the prolonged stress that we encounter. And then over 200 studies have been shown that it can help with depression, chronic fatigue. I work at Huntsman as well, cancer patients. It helps with cancer pain and things that opioids can't tackle as well. It actually boosts your immune system so people can recover quickly from colds, the flu. It helps with addictions. I'm trying to think of other things. So yeah, like chronic pain, fibromyalgia, a lot of things that are hard from a medical standpoint, MS, to tackle and have the proper treatment plan for. People that practice mindfulness, it can help with a lot of these symptoms that can be a little bit more difficult to manage versus, if you fall and twist your ankle, take some Tylenol. Some things are more complex than that. And exercise is also proven beneficial in any form. So the good old Department of Health and Human Services that we love so much, they recommend 150 minutes of light water activity per day. So a lot of people are like, oh, I walk. Like when I was a nurse, it's like, oh, cool, I walk like 4 miles a day. Brisk walking. So it's like, leisurely stroll around the mall. It's good. I'll never be like, that's bad. And, I myself have unsubscribed from my gym membership, so I get it. It's easy when someone's in scrubs being like, we all need to work out more. But like I said, brisk walking, swimming, from a caregiver perspective, if you have small children, taking them on a brisk walk in a stroller, you just have to kind of adapt and try to squeeze in little spurts when you can.
150 minutes a day?
Oh my gosh, a week. That's
I was gonna say, that is
Dude,
a
that's
long
week.
time.
Okay, typo.
Per week.
Don't look at this.
I
This
was
is
like
from the
together.
children.
Okay.
No, oh my
I was
gosh,
like,
no,
how
no,
are we
no,
gonna
no,
do
no, no.
this?
A week. Per
Okay.
week.
Okay.
That's a typo.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so sorry, but
It's
I
a
was
week.
like.
No.
freaking out.
And it's actually 60 to 90 minutes of heavy weightlifting per week. Oh my gosh, do not do this again.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's
Thank
good.
you.
I just didn't wanna have to.
That
I
would've
was
been
like, how am I gonna? fit
Tons
that
of
in my schedule?
misinformation. No, I know. So,
I have to get up early.
Really early.
Just
I'm gonna have to eat dinner while I'm walking.
Oh my gosh, just run
Walk
for
to
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But even like I said, when you bring the kiddos for a walk or whatever you're doing, whenever you have some time for yourself, maybe waking up a little bit earlier in the morning before everyone else in the house has time, people that you're taking care of, and just taking 10-15 minutes brisk walking, walk the dog, and then that can also be a good time to put in mindfulness as well. Mindfulness isn't so much that you have to sit down, you know, be in a quiet room necessarily. A lot of people like to incorporate it with walking or activities that they enjoy. I like getting my eyelashes done, and so sometimes I just kind of meditate and take a little lash nap at the same time. So just wherever and however people can squeeze it into their schedules, not 150 minutes a day. And like I said, things like going to the gym, lifting heavier weights, that's kind of harder. That takes a little bit more effort to like go do things. So heavy exercise at like an athletic level, 60 to 90 minutes, but I feel like for a lot of people that's not really plausible, especially if you are a caregiver and you have other people's schedules other than your own to consider. So, all right. So initiating these practices and educating those around you, like I said, starts 5 to 10 minutes a day. And the whole purpose of mindfulness is really just getting in tune with your senses, your feelings, your thoughts. It can't necessarily, you can't make every stressful situation go away, but this is more of a chance for you to inflect or reflect internally on how you're feeling. That's just talking about brisk walks. Okay, these are my references. So what we're gonna do is we're all just gonna take 1 minute, and I'm gonna sit down, and we're just gonna I like to put my head down like a little kid, and we're just gonna take a minute. And I joke around at work, I'm like, sometimes you just need literally a minute. So we're just gonna put our heads down. Diane, you can put your head down.
Okay.
You can stop recording.
Okay.